Go.
Cool.
Is it recording? It is recording. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm okay, I think. Yeah, all good. Keeping busy as always. But it's really nice to have you chatting with me today because you're quite a newie. You're
Newbie,
a new
fresh.
person. Yes, we love it.
Fresh.
So tell us a bit about yourself and what you do on National Tutors, please.
Okay, so my name is Elsaby. I'm originally from South Africa. People will always try to guess the accent.
Love the accent. It's brilliant.
Thank you. Although my South African friends say I sound too British now. So I've been a teacher for going on 15 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. And I recently decided to go part-time at my school that I'm currently teaching, just because I want to branch out a little bit more into tutoring and just have a little bit of a more work-life balance, I think. So I've been looking around for something to, sink my teeth in. I really enjoy making resources. I'm sure lots of teachers do, but we don't have the time, to make the good quality resources that we're all, looking for. And then I happened upon National Tutors and had a little bit of a look, and we had a little bit of a chat, and yeah, I think we have a lot of aligned values, which is really great. So here I am.
That's really important, isn't it? So yeah, we're at National Tutors. We cater hopefully for as many people as possible. We make sure that every child deserves the education that they need, really. So that's our ethos. So you are a fellow science teacher.
Yes, science nerd.
Absolutely, we are
very proud of it. Very proud of it.
Everything revolves around science, doesn't it, really, if you think about it? But unfortunately, we can't know everything. But this is what I love actually about tutoring and teaching, because students come up with these questions. Even when I'm tutoring, they're like, "Oh, what about this? What about this?" Brilliant. Let's go and find out. I love that, and I love learning and thinking. I love how they come out with these questions and things like that, which are amazing. And life is all about learning. If you stop learning, it's
exactly
dull, isn't it?
It's when students ask you a question and you go, "Oh, I've never thought about that."
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way. I really like those types of interactions with students.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But there's nothing stopping anyone signing up to any of our courses to ask questions. You can have plenty of opportunity. You can email in and ask. You can also ask on our live mentoring sessions that I run now every Thursday, which is lovely. We just started that this month because, again, National Tutors is all about making it personal. We want to get to know families and make sure that they feel reassured and confident that their child is looked after and not abandoned. We don't just go, right, sign up, there you go, off you go. We're there throughout. That's
that makes it really special, I think.
Yeah. And talk about your course, because we're both probably quite Canva. Yes, I think the word is. It's like I don't dare go on it because there could be a whole day gone with Canva. But what you have created is just amazing. But what course are you doing?
So I am doing the IGCSE Chemistry course. Really excited. I love chemistry. Like you said, I just recently discovered some amazing resources on Canva that I'm digging my fingers into, maybe spending a bit too much time on that, but it's all part and parcel. But yeah, so IGCSE Chemistry coming your way, hopefully. And hopefully
it's all there running. Hopefully, if you don't spend too much time on Canva, we'll get less than a week.
Yeah, that is absolutely the plan. Maybe 2 if I'm lucky, but let's not overpromise. But hopefully I can share my passion for chemistry and maybe just encourage someone to also like it as much as I do. or maybe just understand it in a way that makes it a bit easier.
It's making it simple. And this is what I was talking to one of my tutees yesterday. They were new to me, but I was saying about chemistry because they said they really struggle with chemistry. But I said them, I think the important bit with chemistry is understanding that first module, isn't it, about atoms, atom structures and things like that. Because everything else kind of like stems on that knowledge, isn't it? So we always start with the critical atomic structure. And then from that, it just, you know, it's just patterns and trends and things like that, isn't it? It's like a story. That's what I like with science. It's like you build it up and it's a story. And even with, oh my goodness, when I get into biology, it's oh my goodness, we just like go, oh, and then that links with that, and then that links with that, and then we end up
big picture.
Big picture, and it's
I do love the big picture. Yeah,
and, you know, it makes me think that the way we teach it, structured, it should really be heavily on that, like actually this links with this and this links with this, and it just building up rather than right now we're doing electrolysis, now we're doing this. It's very important to link all the subjects together, going, right, you learnt this in this section, this is quite important.
I think that's really vital, especially for your brain to sort of start making the connections. And that's another way in which we learn and remember things. But I think that can sometimes be a bit overlooked in lesson time for various different reasons.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's, even when you look at exam questions, it's not straightforward, right, do the atomic structure, blah, blah, blah. They often link things together from multiple modules to then get you to answer it. And you have to think about how things connect. And
then when we get to A-level, we know that they have the synoptic papers where they sort of just throw everything all together, which is absolutely my favorite. But I think students find that particularly hard because they do struggle to make those connections between the different things. So there'll definitely be a focus on the links between the different topics. And I think making it topical as well, linking it to real life examples and things like that always helps as well.
Absolutely. And finding, just going on Google to find out about different things like in physics, like solar panels, and having a look, well, the solar farms and things like that, making it real life.
I think especially with chemistry, because a lot of my students will say to me, why do I need to know this? Why is chemistry important? I think because chemistry is so abstract. I think with biology and physics, it's much easier to imagine where you see it on a daily basis, but I don't think students always think how much chemistry is involved in our lives. So finding those links, I think is really important for them so that they can see the benefit.
Grip hold of and stuff like that. With the IGCSE, obviously I talk to so many people each day about them going into, either they're in home education or they are thinking about it and want to go that home ed way, but just not confident enough, don't know what to do. It's all the three sciences, and obviously we offer human biology as well, which is great. Sorry, my cat is now getting involved. It's the difference between what the GCSE and the IGCSE. A lot of people know, well, what's the difference? How much is involved? What is one more difficult than the other? And what's your, how would you summarize it in your own terms? Because I know how I sort of share.
I think the layout of the course for the IGCSE is slightly different than you would find for the GCSE. And I think the way that the exam papers are put together is very different between the IGCSE and the GCSE. I wouldn't necessarily say that one is more difficult than the other one. I think they're pretty comparable. There's a lot of similarities between the two courses. I mean, I've been teaching the GCSE for almost 10 years now, and before that
minus that
oh gosh, that it's getting quite to high numbers. Before that, I taught the IGCSE course. I taught the chemistry, physics, and the biology IGCSE course. And I think it's probably the way that the exams are set up is probably the biggest difference that I find. And preparing students for those particular types of questions, which is very different to the
absolutely exam preparation, because it's like with our courses, obviously that's all the knowledge you need to know. Obviously we include exam practice, which for me as a teacher is hugely important. It's like you could be Google, but you don't know how to apply your knowledge.
Exactly.
That will lower your mark. And there was I think it was a TED talk or some video that I watched. They said, how do certain students excel? You know, all from the same school. Why do certain students excel? And it's all because they use exam questions. They focus their revision on exam questions and learn how to apply the knowledge to those. And it's practice. It's like with maths, you've got to practice it.
Exactly.
Same with not just science, but every subject. You've got to practice those exam questions. And that's what I mainly got year 11s this year for tutoring, but it's those exam questions. And our revision course on National Tutors is all based on exam questions, command words, and all those.
Yeah, that's so important. I think I find with my students, they have the knowledge, but there's often a confusion about list, maybe not list, but describe and explain. They don't quite understand the difference between describing and explaining. And it's those small things that I think is so key to preparation for the exam. Which is why it's so important to focus on the exam techniques.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know about you, but one of my main focuses as well is how they've got an I know it's a bit physicsy, but how they write their equation answers. And some of them are like all over the place. And it's like, no, just equation, substitute, calculate, just try and structure.
Make it make sense.
Oh my God, imagine think about the examiner. They're going to be trying to find something to gain you a mark. If it's all over the place.
As an examiner, please.
Because you are an examiner as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I am an examiner. I've been for quite a few years, and it is one of those things where you try to figure out what has gone on in someone's brain. And if it's so all over the place, sometimes it is really difficult to follow where the answer comes from, especially if there's a mistake somewhere you're trying to mark with the error. If it's not laid out really nicely, it does get quite difficult.
Oh, I'm going to ask you this. As an examiner, what are the most common, I'm not going to say mistakes, or what could you advise a student to help you as an examiner make sure that they get the maximum marks? What would you advise?
That's a very good question. Excuse me. I think, first of all, like we already discussed, the misunderstanding of keywords, where students will spend ages describing something when they've been asked to explain it, things like that. So I think really understanding what the word is, what the word wants from you, the command word. I think students often, especially with the longer questions, if it's higher mark tariff, I feel almost that they have sort of a word vomit and just go, what?
Brilliant. Because they don't read the question properly, do they, as well?
Absolutely not. So students will often skim through a question and then go, oh, right, photosynthesis. And then they just write everything that comes to mind. So I think I always try to train my students in class and in tutoring to really sit with the question for a minute, underline the keywords, really making sure you know what they want, jot a few things down, and sort of just give your brain a time to formulate your answer before the word vomit. Because as an examiner,
I love it.
Yeah, you can't really gain the marks that you should from that. So
well,
especially for the higher tariff questions, I think that's quite important.
And I think there's two things here that always, with 6 markers with any science subject, is my strategy with them is exactly as you've got 6 minutes, 6 marks, 6 minutes, 1 minute, brainstorm, annotate, really analyze that question.
Absolutely.
4 minutes, is your writing and making sure you put the relevant information in, think about your structuring, how you're going to answer it. And then what I say to them is go on to the next question. Just you've done 5 minutes, but go on to the next question and then come back when you've had that break, and your last minute on there will be read the question again, read your answer and make edits. So you've had that break from it. Otherwise you don't see those mistakes.
Absolutely.
And that's
I think another thing that students should keep in mind, especially when they are maybe struggling with a question, I see it so often where students will start reading a question and then realize they're not sure, and then they just sit with it and they sit with it and they sit with it and they waste a lot of time. So I always tell my students, if you read your question once, you read it twice and you still have no idea, then just move on, so that you can get to the questions where you are much more confident, gain the marks, and then later you can always go back. I think that's something that just comes with practice. Like you said, you just need to know, okay, I'm not going to deal with this now, I'm going to move on, and then come back to
stuff that you do know done.
Exactly.
I always suggest to the students as well that, you get like a question that goes on for 5 sections. Sometimes it's best to read through all of that because it's like a story, isn't it? An exam question can be like a story, like the examiner's there to break it down and go in stages. Read the whole question first. That could be something you could do, but also know that if you've written the same answer twice,
that's probably not right.
Yes, there's something gone wrong there,
definitely.
The examiner doesn't want the same thing twice. And the other thing is when they start recopying the question in their answer, like you're wasting time. Just go straight into that answer.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's me.
I think students also, when they look at a question and they see 2 paragraphs at the start, they sort of skip that and go straight for the question. And I always tell my students, the examiner is not going to put anything there just for the sake of putting it there. If there's a paragraph at the start of your question, it's because the examiner is going to tell you something that you need to know. And I think students often, I guess because of the stress of the time, they want to get to the question, so they skip all the paragraphs above. Don't do that. Read, because the examiner is not going to put anything there that is just going to waste your time. There's going to be valuable information linking something in the question.
There's an image with labels on it. Guess what? That's what I want you to focus on.
Exactly.
And if you don't words in your answer, you've got wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that, the examiner is kind of on their side. They want you to get the maximum marks. So just have that in mind. And I always say, I'm really sorry, it's not personal, okay? I always say to them, imagine the examiner is really thick.
Exactly. I say that to my students as well.
Just go, right, don't ever assume that they know what you're talking about. You have to be really specific and go, this went up by blah, blah, blah. You don't say this went up, you say this went up by blah, 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 blah. It's just that extra explanation. That's what they're wanting, and that's where you'll get your marks. Oh, we should have just had a revision and exam application session here, but it's this all sort of relevant information, and it's not just science. These skills can be used for every subject, basically.
All across the board.
Take your time and just read it carefully. Know your application skills, but it's a struggle though in school, isn't it, to actually have those sessions where you teach application skills.
Because the syllabus is crammed in so much. I think it is quite hard.
So just promotion here. That's one of my revision courses is really good. You've got a webinar on exam exam application and command words and things like that, and how to answer 6 markers. 6 markers. ChatGPT is my new friend.
Oh, really?
Right. This is so it doesn't apply to all questions, but some students struggle writing 6 markers. They don't know where to start or anything like that. So I'm like, right, if you've got one that's just a simple question, type it in, ask ChatGPT to answer it based on a GCSE question for whatever subject on, and it's 6 marks, that sort of thing. Then ChatGPT writes it, and then I go, right, then go to the mark scheme, and you mark it. I'm the examiner, mark it, And if you give it 6 out of 6 or a level 6, level 3,
Level 3.
you've got a model answer. You created your own revision resource.
That's amazing.
There you go.
I
So
love that.
ChatGPT.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Every day is a learning day.
Oh, absolutely. So it's just as knowing your students as well, and some do struggle with that English and the ability to write those 6 marks without the vomit.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a student used to come up to me and be like, the answer, and it was like on other pages, and I'm like, I'm not even going to mark that. Go away and rewrite that in the format, in the focus. You just vomited on that. Just go and
exactly.
I love that saying. Don't vomit. I love it. Oh dear. So yeah. Oh, so much useful information in this chat. Brilliant. I think my cat's got a bit bored with it, but never mind.
Oh yeah, cat's definitely not into our science chat.
Yeah, but right. So your course, IGCSE Chemistry, you've already got people signed up. So people are already enjoying it. We are waiting for more lessons to come, and people can just work through that. There'll be resources or tasks to do as well for the lessons and the content.
Absolutely.
You'll include exam practice.
Absolutely.
We provide websites where you can get even more questions and things like that, and past papers. There are some nice free sites out there, and you get a chance to see me each week, because every student, I know it might actually put people off.
But, no, I love that very much.
But yeah, we also now do the mentoring sessions each week. So there might be a time when I might do a chemistry themed one, where I might invite certain tutors on maths or in English. So there'll be those sort of themed sessions. There's also parent themed sessions. So for myself as a parent, you have no idea what your child's doing in that school. And as a teacher, I now know, but those that are not teachers don't know. How do they best support their child through, especially at home ed, and keeping them motivated, but then managing schoolwork and stress and all those other issues when they're in school as well? They're the sort of sessions. It's a whole household, isn't it, going through GCSE? Oh, my youngest is year 11 now. It's lovely.
Stressful time.
It's so stressful. They pile on the work as well. So she's stressing with that. You've got to manage it as a parent. So yeah, any way we can support, we are there basically. But the whole courses are just brilliant as well, just to help along the way as well. Yeah,
absolutely. That sounds really good.
Yeah. So final question. My computer's bleeping at me.
I thought it was mine.
It might be yours. I just had a ping, and I was like, okay, another.
Sorry. I think it was an email.
So I know we've talked about a lot about study skills, application skills, and stuff like that. But what is your key bit of information or advice that you could give a student, maybe starting your chemistry course?
The one thing that I wish, I say this to all my students every year, and I wish they would listen. No.
That's it. Just listen.
All jokes aside, no. I wish students would realize the importance of recap. So I always say, at the end of the day, when you get home, all I ask is 10 minutes. Because we spent an hour in class and we did all sorts of things and you learned all sorts of new words. But to really embed that, you have to go back home and you have to read over some of the things that you did today. Give your brain a bit of a break, and then when you come back in the afternoon, just take in that information again. There's various reasons why this works. First of all, in science, like we said earlier, all the lessons sort of build on each other.
Yeah.
And that's where misconceptions happen, because you haven't really quite understood what we did today about atoms. So tomorrow, when we start looking at balancing equations, nothing makes sense to you. So if you can get yourself in the habit of just spending 10 minutes at the end of every day, just having a very quick recap of what you did that day, and
Yeah.
then realizing, oh wait, I actually didn't understand this, and then flag that with your teacher or your tutor or whoever
Yeah.
the case,
Yeah.
because that
Absolutely.
really helps. So I think that's the one thing that I would say, 10 minutes every day, just read through what you've done, and that will start helping your long-term memory as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
important.
It's that strategy that I sort of try and explain to students. It's like you're taught it, leave a gap, go back over it, and then leave a bigger gap and then go back over it again.
Yeah,
So
the space
it's 3 times going in.
absolutely.
And yeah, that's it. This is also with our courses as well. Those in school, if they're struggling with content, our courses, it's not the IGCSE one, but just GCSE. If they're good to help with, if they're not getting it, they can have that resource there, because teachers are busy. I know that's really hard, but they are. But having that opportunity to go, right, I can watch a video on this when I get home.
Absolutely.
But if you're in school, my daughter's school does like open sessions at lunchtime, that sort of thing. Attend those as well, because you've got that teacher then, and you can ask questions. So there's lots of
Absolutely.
opportunity to ask. Don't be afraid to ask as well.
Ask the question. Absolutely. There's nothing like a dumb question.
No,
Ask it.
I
Always
ask
is.
I ask dumb questions every day. Yeah,
Always ask the question.
always. Yeah, not yeah. And even like with you know, if you signed up to one of our courses and you've got a question, email, message. It's not a problem. You know, we're here to help as well. So it goes in school and for National Tutors as well. Really important. But yeah, I love that. Go over, or even just before the next lesson, read over what you did last lesson, so that
Absolutely.
you can, yeah, just remind yourself what you did.
Yeah, just keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh. Yes, that's brilliant. Lovely advice. Brilliant advice. But yes, IGCSE Chemistry now on National Tutors, and
Yay!
I know it's brilliant. And yeah, but thank you. That's brilliant. Love it.
Thank you.
My little newie.
Yay.
So
Lots of chemistry coming your way.
yeah. Was there any other courses you were interested in doing? I can't remember now what you were. If there was, I think it was you do A-level chemistry, don't you? But we
I do
have,
A-level chemistry. I do A-level biology as well. I do GCSE biology as well. So
yeah. Well, it might be that we can get you on doing the second year of the A-level course, because I know Becky, who is fantastic, she's doing the first year, so it might be that you can do the second year, and then
very
it's
good. Very keen for that.
Yeah.
A-level chemistry. Love.
I did it. I did biology, chemistry, maths A-level.
Ooh, lovely.
Loved it. And we've got maths A-level now and biology. Yeah. I want. So it was like picked my favourites because I did them. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Many
that's
more
fantastic.
are coming as well. But thank you
Very
very much.
exciting.
And
No, thank you.
I will speak to you soon. Thank
It
you.
was really nice to speak to you. Bye-bye.